There's plenty of great running backs out there, but what about those two-headed monsters? By team, by tandems. That's what we're taking a look at today. We're doing it with Bill Enright of ffchamps.com. Bill, let's go through this list. We got to start with the Bears because they've got another monster right there, basically.
Yeah, you know, Matt Forte was a dominant back last year, but he missed the last 4 games of the season. So they brought in Michael Bush to keep Forte fresh during the 2012, during this upcoming season. So with Forte and Bush, they're kind of two totally different backs. Forte's a PPR monster. He's had over 50 receptions each of in all of his seasons in the league, and he was almost there at 1,000 yards last year. But again, he missed the last couple of games with an injury. Michael Bush is going to be the goal line back, the short yardage guy, and the offensive coordinator for the Bears, Mike Tice, wants to pound the rock with both of these guys. Now Forte is going in like the mid-second, late second round. Michael Bush, much later, but depending on what you're using them for, both are going to be very serviceable for your fantasy squads.
All right, let's go from a tandem to a trio. Talk about what's going on down south in New Orleans.
You know, Darren Sproles was one of the most underrated running backs last year. He had 86 receptions, over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. This year, he's not underrated anymore. He's going in the mid-third round, and he's the guy that can really do it all for the Saints. He can run on the inside, run on the outside, but he catches a ton of passes. So in the PPR format, he's great. And then they got Pierre Thomas and Mark Ingram. Those two guys are very similar in their roles. Pierre Thomas and Ingram both can catch passes. They both can run short yardage goal line situations. So to me, Sproles is the more consistent guy because there's no one on that team that's going to take away his reps. Ingram and Thomas are both going to split the rotation.
From down south to up north, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and Spiller and Jackson. These guys are just awesome to watch.
Yeah, this is a big-time 1-2 punch because we saw C.J. Spiller last year when Fred Jackson went down with an injury. We saw him carry the workload, and that was a big concern for Spiller the first 2 seasons of his career. But now that we've seen him do it, we're really excited about Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller in the backfield at the same time. Maybe the Bills line up Spiller out as a wide receiver. We're not concerned about Jackson's injury history. We know he's getting a little bit older, but he's never had more than 300 touches, carries, and receptions in a season. So to us, he's still fresh in terms of running back years. We're really excited for Jackson and Spiller this season.
Well, you talk about excitement. I know you're excited to talk about this next two. Obviously, a Giants fan at heart. Talk about what's going on with your team.
I am a Giants fan at heart, but I never am biased towards New York Giant players. It just doesn't make sense for fantasy football. But I do like Ahmad Bradshaw as maybe you're a mid-tier running back too. He's going in the 3rd or 4th round. But the guy that's getting no love this offseason is David Wilson. He's the 3rd rookie running back taken in the 2012 NFL draft. Trent Richardson, Doug Martin are really the guys that are getting a lot of hype. So Wilson's ADP is somewhere in the 10th round. He's going to be a steal for a lot of fantasy managers because he's a big play threat. He can break it loose anytime. I expect a lot of long yardage scoring touchdowns from David Wilson this year.
Last time we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs as far as fantasy was concerned, you were looking at running backs like Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes, that tandem. Right. What do we got going on with them now, though? You know,
the Chiefs brought in Peyton Hillis from the Browns last year. We know he had a very disappointing year, but when Hillis was on fire in 2010, his offensive coordinator was Brian Daboll, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. So Hillis excelled in Daboll's system before, and we think he's going to do it again in 2012, especially with Jamal Charles coming off that ACL injury. We think Hillis is going to start off strong and finish strong. Jamal Charles is going to start off a little slow, let him get back to 100%, but then he's really going to reward fantasy managers in the second half of the season.
Absolutely love it. Right there, the best running backs by committee. He is Bill Enright of Fantasy Football Champs. I am Tyler Pavan of thepulsenetwork.com.